Welcome to a parallel project training APM project management qualification podcast based on the APM body of knowledge 6th edition. You should be using this in conjunction with our e-learning, study guide and potentially a tutor-led course. For more information, please visit www.parallelprojecttraining.com.
Hello, welcome to a Parallel Project Training podcast. This is Paul Neighbour and John Bolton here, guiding you through the APM Project Management Qualification. We're getting used to the new name, aren't we?
Yeah, just about.
Just about.
So 10 years of saying APMP.
Yeah. Yeah, right. This is a mega section, 5.1, 5.2, 5.3, 5.4 and 5.5 in the study guide. So define a project lifecycle and the project lifecycle phases. Explain why projects are structured as phases. Explain the difference between a project lifecycle and extended lifecycle. Outline the processes for sharing knowledge and lessons learned throughout projects. And explain the benefits of conducting reviews throughout a project lifecycle. Da, da, da. Okay, so I expect we better walk through the life cycle first, had we?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, there's it's one of those things where diagram's much better, really.
Yes, we couldn't take some photos, maybe.
Well, put them on, yeah. Just buy the e-learning, folks.
Yes,
buy the book.
True. Buy the book. Yes, it's in the book. So we could do. So let's do the APM cycle, and then we'll do the extended. We'll extend that.
They don't seem to have differentiated between that anymore. They don't call it the APM life cycle. They call it the project life cycle, the extended project life cycle, and the product life cycle.
Yeah, I had a problem with the product life cycle, but anyway.
Well, okay, but I mean they basically got three sections. So you got project life cycle, extended project life cycle, and product life cycle. So let's do one at a time. So project life cycle contains 4 what they call phases.
Yes.
That's concept, definition, development, and handover and closeout. Development used to be called implementation, but let's not worry about that. Concept, definition, development, handover, and closure. And basically, that life cycle is supposed to encapsulate a whole project.
From concept through to delivery.
From the moment you decide you want one to the moment you finish not having one.
And walk away. Hand the keys back to the owner.
Beach and Rio.
Yeah.
So concepts is the first bit. And at the end of concept, you've got a business case. So you write yourself a business case throughout the concept stage. We were talking about this earlier. Actually, you've also got to be writing some form of project management plan at that point as well.
Yes.
But it's only at the end of definition does the project management plan really crystallise.
That's right. But it doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
No.
During the concept phase.
They're sort of developed alongside each other.
That's right. The Gemini twins, as we discussed earlier. Good. So the concept phase will involve things like business analysis, understanding the benefits, looking at options, evaluating the different options, using PESTLE. So PESTLE will guide you in evaluating whether those options are feasible or not.
Stakeholder analysis.
Some investment appraisal if you're seeking funding.
And the main reason you do concept is to justify what you're doing.
Yes, that's right.
To justify the project.
Make sure you're doing the right project and get the money you need.
You wheel out all the options and you end up with one, which you recommend to go forward to a project.
Yes.
And that one is documented in the business case.
Yes.
And then during definition, you write your project management plan or you finish your project management plan.
Yes.
Slowly refine it.
To me, that includes, if you think about a concept design, so in the concept stage, you might do a concept plan design. And then a definition phase, you do as much design as you need to bottom out the price. And I think that works for IT and construction, really. So you need to do enough design. So concept is proving it'll work, and definition is doing enough work so that you can price it properly or cost it properly.
That's right. But definition is also right in how you're going to run the project.
Yes.
So the business case is about what you're going to get back, how much it's going to cost and what the risks are.
Yes.
The project management plan has got 2 bits to it. It's got the bit about how do I run this project.
The process, policies and
procedures. So during the concept you decide that you want to provide, I don't know, clean water to people in the desert or something. And then there's loads of ways you can do that. You slowly whittle those options down. You decide you're going to build a pipeline.
Yes.
The definition phase is where you describe how you're going to build that pipeline
Yes.
and precisely what that pipeline
Yes.
looks like.
Yes.
So you and all your success criteria defined in there.
Yes.
And then during development, you further refine the technical detail and you go ahead and build it.
That's right. So in terms of design, you're still going to have more design to do in development. So you need design for construction because
That's right.
you can do enough design to put a baseline to agree your cost baseline, but that's not enough design to then go and code it or build it. Or
And then during handover and closure, you effectively get acceptance. So you hand it over. The users go and play with it and make sure it's what they wanted. And then the sponsor says, yes, well done, you finished, thank you.
Yes.
So,
Good.
I mean, you break it up into chunks so that it's like how do you eat an elephant, isn't it? So you break it up into chunks so you can do a bit at a time. It allows you to sort of manage your way through the job rather than just sort of drifting along without any clear...
And then we've got this new extended project lifecycle. Well, I quite like this actually.
Well, it's not new.
No, but the way what I like is the way they've split out benefits realisation and operation. So we've now got a phase after the project team has completed called benefit realisation. And that's where the operations people are using it.
That's
right. I expect the sponsor would be primarily leading that benefits realisation
Yeah,
review
that's right.
towards the end. And it differentiates, I see, on the drawing between outputs and outcomes. That's one of your favourite topics, John.
Oh, don't. Yeah, so basically, after the end of handover and closure, you have an end of project review,
Yes.
and the idea of that is to learn mistakes, so what went wrong, what went well.
Yes.
Then benefit realisation is where you actually get the benefit of using it.
Yes.
So if you built yourself a power station, that's when you sell the electricity.
Yes.
Operation is the operational activity of it. So
Yes.
during that stage, you've got your routine maintenance, ongoing operational costs, manning, fueling, and that sort of thing. And then ultimately, that goes on until a certain point in time. But most assets, when they've been built, the beneficial advantage of them expires after a while.
Yes.
So you find that slowly but surely become more expensive to run. They that you have to spend more maintenance and so on and so forth. So at some point the concept of stopping them and terminating them comes in, and that's why they've talked about the product life cycle. So
Yes.
the product life cycle is the bit that incorporates the disposal,
The decommissioning.
decommissioning, disposal.
Termination. Yes.
So the product life cycle goes from concept all the way through to the end of termination.
Yes.
The extended life cycle goes from concept through to the end of benefits, and the project life cycle goes from concept through to handover and closure.
Do you think this extended life cycle is sort of go to the point where the benefits have been, the costs have been...
The costs outweigh the benefits.
Costs outweigh
the cost of
to break
maintenance.
even.
That's right. The costs of maintenance outweigh the benefits you're getting.
Oh, does it? No. The extended life cycle sort of finishes halfway through operations.
That's right. Because
So
you're
is that
still
the break-even point, the point at which you've recovered
Yes.
all the investment that you've
that's
made?
right. Yes, that's right. So that's the break-even point. But you're
That's
still
the break-
operating it.
They're still
But
operating.
you might be operating
it's
at a
all
loss.
profit from here on.
Yeah, it's like the big power stations now, isn't it? Like the coal-fired power stations. They're costing a lot of money to maintain. That's why they're closing them. Because of all the environmental regulations,
Yes,
it's going to
yes,
cost a lot
yes.
of money to put sulfur scrubbers on them, that sort of thing. So you've got that point where you've got to keep operating it because you still need it, but it's
Yeah.
actually costing you more to run than it is to.
Uh-huh.
So you've gone past that sort of tipping point.
Yeah. Or it might be that actually you've paid off the cost, and this is where you've depreciated all the cost
That's
away,
the same thing.
and now it's all profit, because you've not got any.
Well, no, because then benefit realisation would be longer, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Oh, okay.
So no, it's not. It's
So
where
the benefit real.
it's where your costs are outweighing your benefits.
So we're not realising any benefits
That's right.
anymore, but we're
That's right.
continuing to operate
That's
it.
right. That's right. That's the way I interpret it. If I'd have drawn the diagram, I wouldn't drawn it like that. But anyway, that's their diagram. So,
Yeah.
and then at the end of it, you get termination, and they call these things phases: concept, definition, development, handover and closeout, benefit realisation, operation, termination. They're all phases, and you can have within them. You can have stages within the phases. So within
Yes.
each phase, you can have different stages of a phase.
Yes.
And during each stage, you do something differently. Well, it's only
And each
it's
phase,
only actually development they split into stages.
Yeah, and each phase can be a project in itself as well, if you wish. So
That's right. That's right. So, and then throughout this whole process, the whole idea of this, the whole benefit of doing this is that it gives you an opportunity to stop. If you, certainly after concept and definition, if you don't think you're going to make any money out of it, then you don't do it. So They gives you a formal point at which you can stop at gate reviews.
Yes.
During stage reviews, you're just reviewing progress. You're making sure things are as they should be. And at the end of it, you have an end of project review.
So I'm a bit confused by this drawing because it says stage reviews only happen in development. Is that?
That's right. Yeah.
That does seem right to me. I mean, can you have them in
They
concept?
can't be wrong. The APM did it.
I know, but from the drawing point of view, I'm sure you could have stage reviews during handover.
I mean, yeah, I think you and I think about this too hard. But if you, for the people studying for the exam,
yes,
we've got to explain why it's like it is, right?
yes,
So during development, you have stages that you go through. So you might have a design stage, you might have a development stage, you might have a build stage, and those, I think those stages are probably iterative as well. So you might go round and round that loop a number of times.
yes.
But this is called a waterfall method. The whole idea is that you finish one stage, you move on to the next. So one phase, you move on to the next.
Yes.
And then they just decided that development could be quite a long time. I don't necessarily agree with that. I mean, if you look at the Olympics, it took 10 years to get concept and definition done, and 3 years to build it, or 4 years to build it, wasn't it? Something like that. Mm-hmm. You know, so I mean, in that diagram, it shows development as being bigger than the other two,
Which is not necessarily true. A lot of these
Crossrail was, you know,
take years
as long to,
don't they? Yes.
I mean, third runway at Heathrow. How long's that concept and definition? You know,
Yes,
I mean, it's
right.
just. So I think that you shouldn't read too much into the scaling of the drawing and the detail of it. The principles of it are sound as a pound, and I think that when things happen throughout the life cycle is the important bit.
Good, good. So I was just flicking over the page to talk about reviews now. Stage reviews we've touched on really.
Yeah.
So they are reviews at particular pre-planned stages, are they?
Stage reviews, yeah. Actually, I think they're probably gate reviews, eh?
No, stage reviews.
No, gate reviews are where you stop. A formal review commissioned by the sponsoring organisation.
Yes, a business case approval or PMP approval or...
Encourage a regular
And you can
structured
have
control
some
framework.
organisations have more stages, gate reviews and that, don't they?
Yes.
So it's not just those, but those are the minimum, really, I suppose. These stage reviews I'm a little bit confused about. Where you review the KPIs and the activities that you've achieved, record progress, what was done this month, what was done last month. Is that what you understand by it?
Stage reviews are monthly meetings.
Yes, that's why. Yes, that's right. The heartbeat.
Yeah.
Good. That's how I interpret this.
But I think,
stage.
I think part of it is a bit of a acceptance of Prince 2, actually. Because Prince 2 has
you break
stages.
a project into stage.
Yeah, stage boundaries and all that stuff. So I'm not sure about that so much. But I think stage reviews can more or less... There can be two things. They can be formal subdivisions of a phase, where you kind of have a formal recognition of progress and moving forward, or they can be your monthly meetings. And I'm not completely sure how they're viewed, but I think either of those answers would be acceptable.
Yes, that's right. I agree with you. I'd agree with you. Because think about Prince 2, their stage reviews are quite similar to a gate review.
Yes, they are.
So I think the people who've drafted this maybe got a little bit confused. I mean, if I was tackling this question, I'd write the stage review like a status review or progress review, because it's nowhere else. It's an important project control technique, really. So I think that description you've got in the book is absolutely right. And then the other reviews, you have a post-project reviews. So those happen post-project.
Yeah, they happen. One of the big things coming out of those is the lessons learned, really.
So they happen during closeout.
After closeout.
After closeout?
After closure.
After closure.
Yeah, handover and closure. Then you have I think that's...
Or during closure.
Well, it's a moot point, isn't it? Because they can't happen... if they are completely coterminous, you have one day that, the project's finished today, but we haven't done it, So I think the post-project review is at some point towards the end of closure, maybe a little bit afterwards,
yes.
where you all sit down around a table and decide, what you're going to say about the project and how well it went.
So it's got this red round dot in the drawing.
Yeah.
That's sort of like last thing you do.
Yeah, it's conveniently right on the end. Yeah.
Right in the end.
No, I think practically it's just a recognition that you should learn from your mistakes and recognise what went well. Really,
did we some post project reviews are ongoing though? This link to lessons learned.
Yeah, I think
outline sharing lessons learned throughout the project.
It's a bit bonkers to think you only do lessons learned at the end.
Yes.
You know, I mean, I've got a 4-year project, but I'm not going to tell you what went wrong until I finished.
Well, I'll be gone by then.
Yes, I'm not going to let you learn any lessons until I finished.
Yes.
It's stupid, isn't it?
Yes.
So I think, they should be done all the way through, I think. And, I think it's one of those phrases, you talk to people and the people say, oh, they're not lessons learned, they're lessons, documented or something. But they're got to be lessons identified. I think you've just got to be sensible, haven't you?
Yes.
If you've got a contractor that's misbehaving and not doing very well, you don't wait until the end of the project to tell everybody. You kind of make sure that sort of information is, available to the organisation. And if you've got people that are doing a really, really good job, today, you don't wait 6 months to reward it. You say, well done now, don't you?
Yes, sorry.
So I think, this whole business about lessons learned is a bit around the edges.
Do you know anyone who's really good at lessons learned?
No.
Who's got
skydivers.
Skydivers can go do it once.
Yeah. Everyone learns from their mistakes, don't they?
It's like the Holy
Except
Grail.
skydivers.
It's the holy grail of project. How do you learn lessons? How do you capture and disseminate those lessons learned? I'm convinced that you only do it by networking and informal networking in organisations.
No, I think you do it through risk and issue management.
Yes, okay.
Because if the reason we let some organisations do what they do is because they're good at it.
Yes.
And they get good at it because they make mistakes, but they make sure it don't happen again. A lot of it. They plan to be successful, but then occasionally something goes wrong.
And they capture
And
that.
when it goes wrong, they learn from that error and they put it right, and it doesn't happen again.
Yes. So they make a change to their procedure.
Yeah, there was an aircraft crash at the end of the runway, wasn't there, at Heathrow a few years ago. And I think it was something to do with the fuel freezing in the pump or something. And they fixed it. And that aircraft type will never crash for that reason again.
Okay.
It will crash for other reasons, but not that one.
Okay, so you think the way lessons get learned is the feedback loop into the processes and procedures and the method and the governance.
Right. That's right. You've got to be grown up about it, haven't you?
Yes. Is that why lessons learned databases are quite difficult to?
I think the problem is you've got a few issues with lessons learned databases because you've got to identify what the good lessons are.
Yes. And
what appears to be good now might turn out to be bad.
Yes.
You've got to have someone to sort of document it.
What's good and what's bad.
And index it.
That was good and that was bad.
That's right. In whose opinion? Yes.
Yeah, well, I ran the project.
Right.
I thought it was good.
Yeah,
you might think it was rubbish.
That's right.
Because you're a functional manager.
I mean, it comes down to what success means, Yes. What, success criteria, we'll cover those a bit later. But I mean, if your project achieved all its success criteria, then it's successful. But not what if it doesn't achieve the financial return you expected? So I think lessons learned is a funny old topic, really.
I was just looking at the processes for sharing knowledge.
Yeah, well, they call it knowledge harvesting.
Yes.
So you do knowledge farming.
So it's come up with 5 ways of sharing knowledge.
Yeah, you farm it and then you harvest it. So you store all of that data. And you have people, sort of knowledge custodians,
yes,
or knowledge farmers, and they take all that data, those reports, those end of project reports, they stuff them into a database, index it all, and then the idea is you can go into that database and pull out, stuff.
Yes.
The most useful stuff is practical, though, isn't it? Really, I think.
Yeah.
Here's a project management plan for this kind of project, or here's all the issues we had on this project.
Yes.
Here's my issue log,
Yes.
So you can see what happened and what we did about them. And that's the sort of stuff that people really get value out of.
Updating the procedure. Yeah. Look at why it failed and update the procedure.
All this airy-fairy kind of... I think one of the best things is... I don't know if you...
Airy-fairy...
Well, no, I think some of it is all a bit... it revels in its own value, but it's actually it's useless,
Yes. I think a lot of it's informal too.
Do you come across the NAO? You know the NAO, don't you? National Audit Office. They do reports on all the big capital projects in the UK. And that's really interesting to read, because whether you learn anything from it, but they do analysis on things that went well and went badly. And
so that's an audit?
Yeah.
So can we come up with 5...
it's not an audit of process. They're called the National Audit Office, but what they're doing is
an outcome audit.
They're trying to predict the likelihood of success.
Yes, okay.
Or reviewing lessons learned is what they're doing.
Yes. Okay.
I mean, whether it's an audit or not, I think I would reserve the word audit for conformance to procedure.
Okay. I've been benefits audited.
Yeah.
did I achieve the benefits?
There you go. Yeah.
So
But you get all sorts of different audits. Audit used to be one of the reviews in the old syllabus. It's not there anymore.
Yeah.
I think that, I don't know why they took it out, but I think audits are a perfectly viable,
Way of learning lessons.
Yeah, absolutely, because they're impartial. You see, they're external to the project,
And they're based on rules.
Yeah,
People know
yeah.
how they work.
Things like health checks and audits.
So in the book, you did list some ways of learning lessons: team meetings, published journals, updated estimating tables, metrics, risk checklists. I expect you could add updated procedures. Procedures.
Yeah.
Those sorts of things.
Yeah, that's right. The idea is that if you find things so it's going wrong, you stop doing it and do something different.
Yeah, I think that'd be a tough question.
What? 5 reviews?
5 ways of knowledge sharing. It's not one of the.
Well, let's hope there's not a question on it.
One of the harder questions, I think, that one. We have to. I'll post it on the forum and we'll have a go.
Yeah, all right.
We'll have a go at that one.
Yeah. So I think, the idea is that it improves life, doesn't it? It makes future projects more successful.
The benefits. Explain the benefits of conducting reviews throughout the life cycle.
The benefits of conducting reviews throughout the life cycle.
That's what it says in here.
Yeah. Well, you're making sure you don't go too far too fast, giving you the opportunity to stop.
Yes.
You're making sure that all the stakeholders are aware of what's going on, that they're fully engaged in the process.
Maintaining the heartbeat of the project, the control process.
That's right, a certain rigour.
Capturing the lessons learned. That's quite an easy question.
You're building relationships with the sponsor and the project management teams and the suppliers.
Yes.
If you're doing benefit realisation reviews, you're challenging yourself to make sure you've done the right thing well and it is actually yielding the benefits. So, I think and you're making sure the lessons learned are available and recycled back into the business.
That's an easy question.
I think it's fairly straightforward.
Certainly easier than the processes for sharing knowledge.
I always think there's only a few things really in all this whole syllabus that form the backbone of it all.
Mm-hmm.
That's the basics, the project and program management stuff.
Yes.
There's the life cycle.
Yes.
Then there's the roles.
Yes, and I think then the processes as well.
And the project management
risk management and issue management.
And the project management plan stuff.
Yes, processes sit in the project management plan. That's right.
The rest of it's detail.
If you've got that.
That's right. Once you get your head around the basics, everything else sort of falls into place.
That's right. That's the model. Life cycle roles, responsibilities, and the sort of navigation
Who
control
does what
processes.
when. Yeah, that's right.
The control processes that guide you through that. Brilliant. Good. So that's 5 topics, 4 easy and 1 hard.
Yeah, one that would be more tricky than the others.
Yes.
End of.
Good. Thank you, John.
No worries.
We hope you enjoyed this podcast and found it informative. To order a study guide, e-learning, or a tutor-led course to go with this podcast, please visit www.parallelprojectstraining.com.